Hello, everybody, and happy Thursday. Welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. I am John Schmeelk, joined by Paul Dottino. We're supposed to have Jonathan Casillas with me on Thursdays, but he fell ill. It's the same reason you will not see him on the Hangout this week. Doing better. He should be back with us next week on Hangout on a Thursday's Big Blue Kickoff Live. But Paul Dottino was happy to put the superhero cape on and glide right into the Hackensack University.
I literally flew in, John.
The Hackensack Marine Health Podcast Studio keep getting better. So, guys, we are 3 days away from game day. We are practice number 2 of the week, at least a real practice number 2 of the week, as the Giants get ready to take on the Commanders. Not a ton of news. Brian Dable's about to do his flyby outside. We'll keep an eye on Twitter to see if anything comes out of that. But we did get some news on the Giants injury report yesterday, and it was a limited injury report, and
Indeed.
specifically limited to one man who was limited in practice, and that was Andrew Thomas, who did practice. He was out there. I'm sure they will ask Brian Dable how much he did today, and I'm sure Brian Dable will not give an answer as to how much Andrew Thomas did yesterday at practice, how much he will do today. But I think we're going to go down to the final Friday injury report and then maybe even to a game-time decision on Sunday to see whether or not Andrew Thomas is going to be starting at left tackle.
Yeah, I think, John, it's probably a little less likely than maybe I thought a week or so ago, because they did have their first actual practice to prepare for Washington yesterday. And the fact that he was limited, and I'm sure the trainers probably were on the phone with him last night, and then first thing this morning before he got here, hey, Andrew, how you feeling?
Now,
what do you think?
Here's the problem with limited. Limited can mean one of many things.
It can.
Limited can mean there were 20 first-team reps, and he took 15 of them.
Correct.
20 could mean, limited could mean there were 20 first-team reps. He took none of them and just did individuals. Both of that is limited. So there's no way to know what limited means.
Yeah, I think more than even the limited designation, his conversation with the trainers this morning is going to be critical.
Well, what did he say?
I wasn't there.
What do you mean?
See, this is the point that we try to make all the time when the media assumes these kinds of things. We tell you what we don't know because those are the facts. We have no idea how Andrew Thomas felt at breakfast this morning. Case closed. But
at least know what he had for breakfast.
I don't even know that.
Wow, you are just lacking information today, Paul.
What can I say, John?
You're such an intrepid reporter. You're really
I did not want
to
intrude on his kitchen this morning.
Oh, boy.
But the
he
point
might have
is,
been here. I figured you would have been posted up, hiding behind the kitchen counter.
The point being, though, that as we have discussed for several months, the Giants do believe that James Hudson is a more than competent guy who can do the job and take care of business for them. And look, why would you sign a James Hudson so quickly for the money and the commitment that they signed him for if then you were going to be afraid to play him in a game? That doesn't make sense.
It's not being afraid to play him. It's just whether or not Andrew Thomas is healthy.
Right. But if Andrew Thomas has any soreness whatsoever, and if they're concerned about the long-term durability, the last thing the Giants want is for him to play and then have to come back out and then go back in and then come back out again. Because that discombobulation is the one thing that can really throw acid in the face of your offensive line.
Make sure when he's ready to go out there
that he's a go.
Go out there, play a full game, and then play the next week.
That's it.
Correct.
And if it means you got to error on the side of caution and hold him out for the Washington game, you do it.
Which makes me think, Paul, because I agree with you. We're agreeing way too much. But I feel like they're going to want to give him a full practice and then see how he reacts to that full practice. And again, no one's told me this. This is just me trying to think through the situation. See how he reacts to that full practice.
Sure.
And then see how he looks after that. But maybe not. Maybe they're doing enough in the limited practice where they can see that. But again, we'll find out more Friday. And then, of course, the final decision. Unless he's ruled out on Friday. Who knows? Or isn't it questionable and we know he's in for sure. We'll find that on Sunday.
And I don't mean to make light of this, but we had a conversation yesterday, John, in the lunchroom. Washington's pass rush is not what it used to be. So,
Same what it was last year.
And again, it's not great. Dante Fowler's gone.
That's true.
Dante Fowler's gone, and they signed Von Miller, who basically seemed like he was ready to retire. And they brought him out of the cobwebs to try to help their pass rush. They don't have a tremendous amount of bite in their pass rush.
No, but they do a lot with games, twists, and blitzes.
Well, that's what, coach does.
And look, we have seen, Paul, the Giants in the past have many, many issues with teams that rush the passer the way the Commanders do. The Giants improved in that facet last year.
They did.
You hope with the same group back, again, maybe it's going to be Hudson in there as the fifth guy who's different. And you hope that continues to improve.
You know, though, the stunts and the twists is more of an issue for the interior guys than it is the edge guys.
Yeah, generally speaking, that's correct, yes.
So, again, I don't see a tremendous threat off the edge from the Washington pass rush as it's currently constructed.
Dorrance Armstrong has gotten many sacks against the Giants in the past. Just remember that.
He's not a journeyman by any means, but he's also not a headache player.
No, they do not have a headache player up front. They're doing it with numbers and scheme.
Right.
That's what they're doing. By
So
the way, how many
anyway.
sacks do you think they had last year for the Commanders? Giants had 45 for reference, tied for 8th.
Yeah, I don't know. What do they have? 40?
43. Just 2 less than the Giants.
Yep.
So just keep that. And Frankie Louvu, he's another guy you got to look out for. They use him very creatively as a blitzer.
I think he had 4 last year.
I talked to Bram Weinstein. That's going up on our Giants Huddle game preview on Friday. And he says he thinks Louvu might lead the team in sacks this year with how they're going to use him as a rusher and a blitzer.
Well, then he's going to have to more than double what he did in 24.
Yeah, I think he thinks he might be around 8. So,
Okay.
again, just I'm marking players that people should keep an eye on.
I mean, the only guy they had...
Armstrong, old Von Miller, we talked about, Frankie Louvu. And then their interior players are interesting. Payne, Kinlaw, Jerzan Newton. Like, there are some guys with some talent there, too. So,
Yeah.
that could be... I didn't mean to interrupt, Paul. I'm sorry.
No. I don't want to belittle Washington, but when we talk about, like, the last few years, you remember a couple years ago when the Giants opened up against Pittsburgh, and they opened up against Minnesota.
No, I understand.
And,
Well, I mean,
they've
Minnesota
opened up...
didn't have great rushers, though.
You see what Von Ginkel did to them?
Yeah, but Van Ginkel is no better a pass rusher than Dorrance Armstrong is.
Point being, they have opened up with teams that had a little more bite, I think, in the pass rush than Washington does this year. That's my only point.
No, look, and that's fair. You still got to block them.
Down straight you do, because you know what? Anybody can get a sack against empty space.
The other part of this I want to talk about in the trenches, and then we'll get to your calls at 201-939-4513. We already have 3 all the lines on hold, so maybe we'll hold Pearson our playoff predictions for the end of the show, so we get to the calls as much as we can. Now, Paul and I will give our playoff and our Super Bowl predictions today, which should all be wrong, and you can laugh at us in 4 months. But the Commanders' offensive line is something that's really interesting to me, because I think there's more talent there, but it's a mishmashed, mixed-up group compared to last year.
Right.
And, sometimes it does take those groups time to figure things out.
Sure.
And some guys in that group have also switched positions. Look, Larry Tunsil's going to be really good at left tackle. Tyler Biotish will be solid at center. I think both of us feel pretty good about that. They'll be fine.
Yeah, he's okay.
Allegretti, he's a veteran guard. He should be fine at guard. Brandon Coleman, who did a decent job as a tackle last year, has been moved into guard to play left guard this year. And then Josh Connerly, and if you listen to our draft stuff in the offseason, you guys know how much I love Josh Connerly. I had a real first-round grade on him. I think he's going to be a really good player. But he never played right tackle in college. He was a left tackle only.
Mm-hmm.
And again, talking to Bram Weinstein, you'll see this interview tomorrow. One of the most interesting things he said to me, among others, was if I would have asked him the question about the right tackle spot 3 weeks ago, he would have told me Wiley would have been the starter. Because it was a slow process for Connerly to get used to playing on the other side. But he said in the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's made a jump. And he's really started to figure it out. But I thought that was interesting that there was a process there with him trying to get used to that right tackle spot.
If I'm Kayvon Thibodeau, I'm testing him as quickly as I possibly can. I want to cause that young kid who's making his NFL debut to have nightmares.
I mean, Burns is usually Thibodeau's over the left tackle, so that's probably going to be Burns over there.
Oh, I think they're going to go the other way based on what we've seen outside. But they'll flop him. There's no question they'll flop him.
I would prefer to just get my best rusher on Connerly, the rookie. So you get Burns over there, maybe put Carter over there a little bit. I would just let Thibodeau go against Tunsil.
I think you're going to see all 3 guys in different spots all game.
Oh, no. it's never going to be uniform. It's never going to be uniform. But a must-get pass rush situation on third down.
You think?
Give me my best pass rusher against their worst tackle.
And I would understand that logic.
That's what I want.
I would understand that logic.
I mean, that's hunting matchups, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you want?
I would understand that.
And Burns certainly played both sides. He was almost even 50-50 last year, I think, left and right.
Yeah, he was. I wouldn't have a problem with that if that's the way they did it. But, I got a feeling that Thibodeau's going to have a career year this year. I just really do. I think he's going to come out balling like a monster. I think he understands his place right now. He has been, by many estimates, and understandably so based on his draft slot, he has not lived up to the potential or to the max that he was expected to bring to this team. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he has maxed out. When you are drafted in the top 10 like that, you're really wanting the guy to be a Pro Bowl type player. And Thibodeau has not done that. And I think his pride is hurt. We know he's gone to a wrestling coach during this offseason to improve his ability to make moves. We know he's gotten stronger. We know he's reduced his body fat. I think this guy's pretty ticked off. I think he's got a fire in his gut. And I would not want to try to block him. I'll tell you that.
Well, I don't think you'd want to try to block him last year either, or the year before that, or the year before that. I don't think that would go well for you.
Put it this way, I always offer him my spot in the lunch line.
201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Noah Brown's another injury to keep an eye on for Washington. He's their third wide receiver. It could be Luke McCaffrey or Jalen Lane. If he can't go, he's been kind of banged up all offseason. He's a big factor in their run game as a blocker. I could also see them doing a lot of two tight end stuff. They love John Bates. He's one of the better. He's like their Chris Van Hurts.
Yes,
he's one of the better run blocking tight ends in the league. So then of course you have Zach Ertz, the veteran, and then Ben Sinnott, who came out 2 years ago. I was a big fan of his.
Loved his versatility.
He just hasn't figured out a way to force his way on the field yet because Ertz is playing like he's 28 years old.
True.
Giants Foundation will host a 5K Racing Kids Run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 26th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt and after the race day for a post-race festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. All right, let's get to it. 201-939-4513. Joe in Pennsylvania. Joe, what's going on, pal?
Hey, getting psyched up there.
Long time no speak, Joe. How are you?
Good. I talked to you not long ago, John, about a month ago, I believe. So, anyway, getting psyched up. The game tonight, I'll watch that. I hope they knock the hell out of each other, That'll be a good start there. When you did your, the division, the personnel in the division.
Yeah.
I think that was early before the draft even.
No, it was in June. It was in June.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you do it now, if it would be any different with the Redskins, if we'd come on top with their personnel and that compared to ours. I'm not sure, but I think we have better personnel in them and Dallas now.
Joe, just remember, Joe, the Commanders got to the NFC Championship game last year. Let's have some respect for the opponent here, okay?
I do, and it's supposed to be a close game again coming up here. So a big thing there I was looking at there is I don't recall in the game. I know we had turnovers, but did the Redskins always win the turnovers, the penalties, and the drops in them games? Do you have any idea on that?
The Commanders last year had a really, really... It was kind of like the Giants in 2022. Every close game the Commanders played, they tended to win. They were really good in big spots, especially on fourth downs. And that's why I think some people think they're in for a bit of a regression this year. I happen to be one of those people. I could be proven very wrong. All of us could be because Jaden Daniels is amazing. But there were a lot of close wins last year for Washington. By the way, in our head-to-head with Washington and the Giants, we all had them pretty close. Paul was the only one that had the Giants way ahead. But me, SciTech, and Lance all had both teams within 2 points of each other, either way. So the comparison on the personnel was not that far off.
Yeah, well, and that's the way the game's played, and I'm hoping that we can change that there. You don't think now? I know they gave their orders of the quarterback and everything. You don't think by any chance that they'll dress 3 at all, do you?
My guess is that one would be the emergency third quarterback. But you know what? Maybe not. Maybe they will dress all 3. It depends.
I think he dresses all 3 in week 1.
He could.
He's got nothing to lose because he doesn't have a position that's dinged up where he needs another body. There's not really much of a penalty in dressing all 3 this week. Once you start getting into the season, you have guys hurt. Now you can't afford to give up a body. But this week, why not? If he wants to do it, he can do it. Doesn't hurt.
Who played the other team's quarterback this week? Do you know? Or
that's not something we could talk about, Joe.
Well, and we also are not at practice watching it, so we don't know. And Brian Daboll was asked that, and he was not telling us what the answer was.
Okay, well, I'll take this off the air. I asked a lot there. Do you think we'll play man a lot, or in long situations or close situations with our pass rush? That's all.
Yeah, Joe, I think so. I think we are going to see more man this year. And the Commanders last year, if you dig into some of the advanced numbers, they were not great passing against man defense last year. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Paul, who were their man beaters in terms of their weapons outside? They had one.
Mm-hmm.
Terry McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Ertz is more of a find the hole in the zone type of guy. He's older. He's not going to run away from people really and win over the top. De'Ami Brown made a couple of plays here or there, but he's not someone that you worry about playing man-to-man against. And even Deebo Samuel, who they brought in this year, he's not your traditional man beater where he's going to go out there, run a great route, get separation down the field. No, he's a catch-and-run guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it would not surprise me, especially based on this matchup, if we see the Giants play a ton of man-to-man defense, and we'll see who's out there across from Paulson and Debo. Another thing the Giants coaching staff has been quite mum about over the course of this week. Deontay Banks or Cordell Flott.
Yeah. In fact, it's even possible you might see both of them switching off during the game.
Yep. Shane Bowen left that open today.
He left it totally open. We got a note, by the way. I just want to get this out here.
Yeah, please.
The beat reporters, in discussing Daboll on his walk-by while we were starting the program, did tell the media Andrew Thomas is not going to practice today, despite the fact that he looked good yesterday. They're giving him the day off, which I would think logic says that really decreases the opportunity for him to play Sunday. But that's strictly logic. That's nothing more than that.
That's inferring based on years of covering the league. Usually if a guy practices on Wednesday, doesn't on Thursday, that's not the best sign.
As I said this morning, the first thing that was going to happen when the crack of dawn came is that they were going to try to find out with those trainers. Andrew, how do you feel?
Of course, it could just be managing the injury, too. There's no way to know, but look, you would much rather have him practice in full today than not practice at all. That's
no
for
doubt.
Sure. Or limited, for that matter.
No doubt.
Look, we warned you guys over the summer, right? I mean, you go back to the Giants Huddle podcast we did with the offensive lineman back in June, right? Where Andrew said, look, I'll do my best. I'll try to come back. But he and the Giants have both been very careful. They said, look, we're on schedule. But no one ever committed that he would be ready in week 1. So this is, to me, and I know I was probably a little bit more skeptical than you were, Paul, that it was always, I'm going to wait until game week to see what happens. And again, we'll find out on Friday/Sunday as to whether or not he's going to have a chance to play.
With each passing day, I had a less hope. Let's just put it that way.
All right, back to the calls at 201-939-4513. Another oldie, but a goodie. James in Georgia. James, what's going on, man?
Oh, wow.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
We're great, man. What do you got?
I know it's been a minute since I've called. Thanks for the introduction. I hope to not disappoint this time. You know, I probably got a lot on my mind.
James, you never disappoint. What do you got today?
Come on, bring it, baby. Bring it.
Listen, I just called for a kind of a hype show, you know, just to get everybody excited for the season because, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, let's see, you know, when are we going to see Dart if the season doesn't get off to a right start and this and that. I'm here to say that the season's going to start off right. And we are going to see Dart because I think Daboll has in the back of his mind, if it's past halfway in the third quarter and we got a 24-point lead, we're putting Dart in what would be cleanup time.
Who's got a 24-point lead? John, help me out here.
Hey, James,
did I hear that right?
Everybody,
I'm going to let James go. He's confident. He's feeling it. Let him go.
Okay, go ahead, James.
Because everybody's like, oh, we're going to see beat Dart because we're going to be 0-3 and this and that. And the exact opposite is what I see happening. You can't talk about the great moon ball and all, the continuity of how we got better, but then just kind of still say we're gonna suck. You know what I'm saying? I see we take a big leap this year. Russell Wilson gets us into the playoffs.
I would just say this, James. It's very difficult to go into. James, it's very difficult to go.
How I see it right now.
James, it's very difficult.
Have in mind that Dart is the number 2-ish if things are going right. If it's like a bad game, you're not going to put Dart out there to continue getting beat up. To add on to the onslaught, you throw Jameis Winston out there. Let him finish out the game. I also just wanted to say I liked listen to Russell Wilson's interview. I know last time I called, I kind of hit on this point, but now I liked his answer to the question he asked about being, one of the 16 black starting quarterbacks, and history being what it is, and the history of our own team. I'm very proud. I'm happy. I'm not putting too much stock into that portion of it politically, you know what I mean? But our quarterback room has upgraded immensely, even if it's just from, like, the decision-making, I think it was Bob Papa and you, John, were on the other day with, like, that flea flicker play in Indy where we took a sack was pretty much the indication that, we need a quarterback who can run this offense. And the preseason gave, I talked to a lot of my people about the indication that it hasn't been the playbook. The playbook works because every quarterback that went out there put up a touchdown and a field goal for pretty much every drive that they had. So I'm optimistic. I'm looking up for the season. Plenty of teams have gone from worst to first, and we're going to start knocking the quarterback out free this week against Washington.
Great. Thank you, James. Appreciate the call, my friend. Always a pleasure to hear from you. Good stuff. What I was going to say is that it's very difficult to go into another team's building for their home opener and week 1 and blow them out. You can win. Very difficult to blow them out. That's all I'll say. Especially a division rival.
He's asking for a 24-point lead. I'd just like to score 24 points. How about that?
Pearson, are you sure that was not Big Ed in Maryland? That was James in Georgia? You sure about that? Okay, perfect.
By the way, we should also tell you that Mike Kafka spoke. We were able to catch briefly before we came in here. He is going to call the plays during the regular season, as he has this entire offseason, and did indicate being downstairs on the sideline gives him a better feel for what's going on with the receivers and the quarterback and stuff. So that's part of the offensive equation that has changed from last season.
Absolutely. By the way, there is some other good news we should report. Pearson will be at the controls all week this week and next week. Paul, did you know there was a big social media outcry for why Pearson wasn't screening calls every day? We got called out on Twitter for it. People were calling for Pearson.
How many relatives do you have?
You think his relatives like him? Come on.
These are the callers. We have a great relationship.
Okay, very good.
So they were calling
I'm the
for
hero
Pearson.
they need right now.
Johnny Mack, our other guy who produces and calls screens the show, he is on his honeymoon right now.
Yes, congrats, Johnny Mack.
Great timing. And he will be back after week number 2. So make sure you go check that out. 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Let's go to Tim in Charleston. He's up next. Hi, Tim.
Hey, John and Paul. So I got to start off and say we went from an oldie but a goodie to, what am I, chopped liver?
I feel like I've heard from you, Tim, more recently than I have heard from James.
Yeah, that's true. Last week after 2 months.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
Exactly.
So I'm gonna be pretty quick. First thing, I have a question for you, and I'm not sure if you can answer it because I know you can't talk about certain things you've seen. And the question is about Jalen Hyatt. Going back to the spring, there was, I mean, and I know everyone was playing at every different position and whatnot, so everyone was getting slot chances and outside chances in wide receiver group. But I felt like, based on what he did in college and everything, that Jalen Hyatt might have the best chance at redeeming his career at this point if he got more shots in the slot. And in preseason, I don't remember seeing him in the slot. At least I don't remember seeing any completions in the slot. Not that he had that many to start with. But I feel like when he's on the boundary, it's almost like there's two defenders. There's the defender and the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that so I was wondering if you guys have seen, in what you can talk about, him playing in the slot more. And then I'm going to go on. I got a bold prediction and a maybe not so bold prediction.
Paul, why don't you go? I'm going to try to find how much he played the slot in the preseason. Here.
Yeah, during the course of the entire offseason program, he did not do much work in the slot.
He did in the spring.
Not a ton.
He was in there more than he ever had been before with the Giants.
That's true. I agree with that. More than he had been, but still not a ton. And I think that's because they look at him as somebody.
He was 36 snaps wide in the preseason, 5 snaps in the slot.
And I think that's because they look at his speed as a tremendous asset on the outside. I mean, Russell Wilson can't talk enough about throwing him a deep ball. So
no, you can run deep.
You know,
run slot fades.
You can, but I get the impression that they feel that they'd be better off utilizing him out there. Now, that may not be the best thing for the player, but I think they think it's best for their scheme.
Okay. So, all right. So first, I'll say the bold prediction for last. So first, on this game, I think it's going to be decided by 3 points or less. Now, with my gut feeling, and this isn't a bold prediction necessarily, but I think we're going to start the season 2-0, and I'm hoping that we get to make the Cowboys be 0-2. So I'm actually going to root for the hated Eagles tonight because I hate the Cowboys that much more.
Tim, I disagree. Tim, I think you root hard for Dallas tonight, and they'll be so up. The one thing Dallas has never done great over the years is handle success well. Am I wrong? Okay. So I would much rather have them coming off some really good victory, and Jerry Jones holds some big press conference about, I told you we didn't need Micah Parsons. And then, they end up coming out next week, and they're flat at home for their home opener. So I would root for Dallas tonight if we're thinking about the Giants' fate in week 2, but I get where you're coming from, Tim.
Yeah.
And my bold prediction is on sacks. I feel like at the end of the season, as a team, we will have 10 or more, not more than 10 or more sacks than we give up. And the goal that I'm going for, this is not a prediction, but just a goal, is to get 56 in honor of Lawrence Taylor. Oh, and I'll be wearing my number 53 Harry Carson white Mitchell & Ness road jersey, Super Bowl 21 with the Spider Lockhart patch on it when I go see the game on Sunday. So go Giants, 23-20 or better.
Cool. Awesome. Appreciate it. See, now it's funny. When he said 53, was that
bold prediction? I didn't get that.
56 sacks for the Giants this year, I believe, was his bold. I thought when he said he was hanging up his number 53 jersey, I thought he meant Reggie Torber. No?
I think the one thing of the one item in your bold prediction string, which I don't think is very bold, is the Giants having more than 10 sacks than they give up. I actually think, despite the fact that Russell Wilson does like to take sacks because he holds the ball, I think he's going to wind up somewhere in the mid to high 30s.
If that's the case, the Giants are going to have a lot of success this year.
And I think the Giants are going to have over 50 on defense. So I think that one, actually, for me, is not very bold.
Okay. Well,
Dable's really tried to get Wilson into this get the ball out quick
I understand.
stuff.
But then again, it's also probably been about 8 years since the Giants have been plus anything in that category.
I know that. I'm well aware of that. But Tim, that's where I'm going to go with that particular item of your prediction string.
I guess that was the other one you can write down, Pearson. Plus 10 sacks versus sacks allowed, I guess was the other one. Excuse me.
Let's put it this way. If you're a decent team, that should not be that hard to achieve. And if we think the Giants could be, as competitive as we believe, that should be very realistic.
You'd be surprised because the spread of sacks, like the difference between finishing second in sacks and finishing like 20th in sacks is only like 14 sacks. It's not that big of a difference. It's only like one a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have that plus or minus in front of me. I have to find something that shows me both at the same time. But my bet is that there weren't many teams last year that were plus 10. But I'd have to look at it. I'm not sure about that. 201-939-4513. Just because it's all seems to be clustered between 40 and 50 or 37 and 42, whatever. Anyway, see, we've had way too much optimism. This is why Pearson's a good screen caller. Let's go to Charlie in Portland, Maine. Charlie, what's going
here
on?
we go. You could turn a 75-degree sunny day into a horrible rainstorm.
I actually take it back. Can we get Johnny Mac back from his honeymoon, please? I want him back in that chair, please.
Hey, look, Pearson's the best, and I'm glad he's back, and he needs a raise. But other than that...
Oh, boy.
Hey, look.
You're right, Charlie.
Now Charlie's getting on 4 times a week. This is going to be a big problem.
As many calls as you want.
Oh, my.
Hey, look, you know who's going to have the first sack?
I'm waiting for your funny answer.
Yeah, Rusty Wilson's going to have the first sack. He's going to get sacked before our defense even gets one. Just mark that down.
I mean, look, it's possible. Jaden Daniels is very hard to sack because he's so mobile. Yeah. Now, his pressure to sack ratio is actually a little higher than you think it would be. But Russell Wilson takes sacks, Charlie. I don't think that's a crazy prediction.
Exactly. So don't expect that he's not going to take sacks because that's what he does, right? And he's slower than he was.
Only you could come up with some kind of negative prediction right out of the box after this team went.
Time out. In fairness to Charlie, all right, Paul is right that you have been getting the ball out quick in the summer. But saying that he thinks Russell Wilson's going to take some sacks, that's not exactly being negative. That's looking at history, Paul. Let's be fair.
No, I understand.
So that's not that negative.
I mean,
he's about to get a lot more negative than that, so I hope you got yourself ready.
I won't be surprised if he does.
Paul, you were talking about kids, right?
Yes.
He's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to do this. And you know why he's going to do it if he does it? It's because he's fighting for a contract. That's why he's going to be good.
Well, he's here next year. They've already picked up the option, so he is here in 26. So it's not a free agent year. So let's make that very clear.
He's playing for money, Paul, whether he's here or not.
He's going to be here next year. He has a guaranteed 1 year, 26 contract. It's the option that was picked up.
Yeah, but a lot of times going into that 5th-year option year, you can get a contract extension.
Well, you can. Yeah, exactly. You can. That's possible.
Exactly. That's what he's playing for, Paul. You know when players have their contract.
I don't give two horses butts what he's playing it for. If he goes out there and plays like a monster and kicks people's rear ends, that's a good thing, Charlie.
That is correct.
But only you could find a way to make that bad. Seriously, come on.
I'm just putting it in reality, Paul.
Okay, great.
He'll do that, all right? But let me just say this about the Washington game. We're going to find out. I mean, like I said, show me. If they can show me they're a different team, great. But I want to see if we can stop the run, which I don't know if we can yet or not. And I got to see if we can actually run the ball. And this offensive line is good enough without Thomas. And I told everybody 6 months ago Thomas wasn't going to play because he had a serious surgery on his foot. So he ain't playing for a couple weeks probably. So we got Upton, right? This is the guy that Shane brought in to take Thomas's place in case he was injured. So this is either going to be a huge mistake by Shane bringing this guy in, and I don't think he's going to hold up.
Or it'll turn out to be a really good move, Charlie. Like you said, you got to wait and see, right? Maybe it'll go the other way.
Yeah, he might surprise me, but I don't know. So, look, our offensive line is not great, and not that, Washington has the greatest pass rushes in the world, but they'll scheme things, they'll blitz, they'll do stuff, and all I know is I would be attacking Jay on this, and I would be attacking Hudson if I'm Washington. Go after those two guys and make Russ have to move and get out of the pocket, and that would be my game plan. If we can run the ball, then that will change. That will help because, as we all know, Russ is great with play action, but if we can't run the ball, and Russ has to throw 30, 35 times a game, it ain't going to be pretty. That's all I'll say about that.
Thank you, Charlie.
And we'll find out. Okay, guys.
Oh, I thought you were done. Charlie.
Well, almost. I want to give my score.
Okay, give your score.
31 Washington, 17 Giants.
Okay, we'll put it down for you, Charlie.
There you go.
Appreciate the call. In terms of the running the football, both these teams' run defenses were not very good last year. They both struggled. Both teams, I think, made it a point to try to fix those issues this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Giants are set up a little bit better to run the ball than Washington is in terms of their running back talent and their offensive line. But Washington, with Cliff Kingsbury, does a great job of spreading out and figuring out a way with motion and stuff to free up the running backs. It's going to be a committee situation. Chris Rodriguez will be their battering ram. Bill Krosky-Merritt is kind of their rookie that they're going to work into the lineup. And then you have Austin Eckler, who I think will probably start out as their quote-unquote number one back and get the most touches, at least in this game against the Giants.
Mostly passing game stuff.
We'll see, Paul. I don't know.
You think they'll rely on him more as a runner this year?
Graham Weinstein seemed to indicate that to me when I talked to him.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay.
I will put it this way.
Hey, fine. He's not going to break any long ones.
If the Giants struggle stopping, remember, he returned kickoff for a touchdown against the Giants last year. So let's
on kick returns.
I understand, but it shows he has speed. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see.
If the Giants struggle to stop the run against Washington this week, that would be a concern for me. Because this is not they don't run under center. Everything's out of shotgun. It limits what you can do. I would hope the Giants can stop the run against Washington this year, given the focus in the offseason and the additions they've made on defense. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I think the rush defense needs a few games to kind of get themselves together. I like the fact that they're playing two running backs by committees in Washington and Dallas.
Yeah.
John, I've been very firm on this. I don't think you can really grade the Giants' rush defense until they play the Chargers in Week 4.
Well,
because Dexter Lawrence hasn't played during the preseason. He needs to get himself together. You need the
Dexter said yesterday he's ready to go.
I know he says he's ready to go, but come on. Is he going to be 100%? I don't. He hasn't taken a lot of hits. You know, he really hasn't. He needs to get bruised up.
I'm just warning you. I'm not like, if we have 3 bad rush defense performances the first 2 weeks, which I don't think we'll have for the record.
I don't want to see that either.
I know, but I'm just not going to write it off and say, they're still getting ready.
I've seen too much football to make too many concrete statements this early in the season.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm going to make a concrete statement, but I'm not going to make an excuse for it either.
No. I'm not saying that either. I want them to play well.
Well, because you have to start fast here. You can't wait.
Absolutely, I would like to see that. I don't think,
and I don't think that coaches are going to be sitting there like, we'll figure it out. We'll get it together. Just give it a couple of weeks.
I'm sure not. But, you know, Dexter Lawrence is a big part of whatever they're going to do, regardless of the improvements they've made on defense, whether it's Robertson Harris or whether it's Carter or whether it's Golston, whoever else is in that front seven who's been added, who's going to have to try to do a better job against the run and not just get to the quarterback. They're still going to need some time to mesh. They're going to be kinks to work out.
No,
so
absolutely.
I'm not going to grade them harshly until a few games in. Would I rather see them be effective early? Yes, absolutely I would. But I'm not going to mark down a grade and pen on them after the first couple of weeks of the season.
Well, not for the season, but you do have to talk about how they play in each individual game.
You know, in 2007, the defense played like a Little League defense the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know, and they went 0-2, and then they barely made the playoffs.
Yeah, but what happened in Week 3? The defense totally turned it around, and you know they played better.
I understand, but the losses still matter if they play poorly.
I understand that. I'm not going to be as dramatic. This is one of those times where I will not make an emotional impulse decision, which doesn't happen often. But this is one of those times where I will not.
It doesn't mean they're going to be bad the whole year. That's not what it means. But I think you have to be concerned.
I'd rather see them stop everybody from the beginning.
And again, especially since the first 3 teams they're playing are not good rushing teams.
They are passing teams. But I don't think they'll be tested by those 3 teams. I think these first 3 teams would much rather beat you through the air.
That's my point, though, Paul. Since these teams want to throw it, they don't have good running games. If you still get torn up by these teams, that should be a huge concern.
I don't think they'll get torn up, but if they don't do
what happens if we
well,
walked out of Washington and Dallas and they gave up 145 rushing yards in those 2 games?
I won't be happy. I don't think the coaches would either.
No,
but I'm also not going to panic.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to Barry in Brooklyn. Barry, what's going on?
Hey, Paul. Hey, John. I got a question.
Yes, sir.
There's been an incident. If Russell Wilson play lights out football, do you bring him back next year?
I mean, I think it depends what lights out football looks like and what the Giants' record is, how many points they score. I mean, I would never rule anything out before week 1 of an NFL season. We've all seen crazy things happen before. I'm sure Russ, that's his goal, right? His goal is to play so well here that he forces the Giants' hand. I mean, you just drafted Jackson Dart in the first round. Would I consider re-signing Russell Wilson less likely? Unlikely? Sure. But again, it's an NFL season. If he plays really well, who knows?
I would say the one element here that does lean towards highly unlikely is if Russell Wilson totally balls out to the point where you expect him to.
Oh, well, then he didn't want to get paid, right?
Bingo.
Yeah, that's a good point.
How in the world are you going to fit him under the salary cap if he has a Pro Bowl kind of season?
I don't know what the demand's going to be for an older quarterback, though, at that price point.
He's going to want more than he's making now.
Well, that's probably true, yes.
And I don't know that the Giants are going to be too anxious to open their wallets. So
Barry, my suggestion would be is if this situation comes to pass like you described,
things are really good.
Just enjoy the ride and don't worry about what's going to happen in February and March.
I think that's the best advice of the day.
Right. Okay.
All right, Barry. Appreciate the call, man.
All right, John. All right, Paul. Later.
You got it.
Have safe in the best borough in the world, Brooklyn, New York. All right, Kevin in Arizona. You can screen one more, Pearson. I'm going to go through the playoff predictions pretty quick, all right? Kevin, what's going on?
Hey, not much, guys. Hey, great show. Hey, I wanted to make a positive prediction.
Sure.
I believe that the Giants, if they can rush the ball with at least 150 yards or more, and if Scadaboo could have 100 yards receiving out of the backfield, I believe the Giants, that's my prediction, the Giants will win the game in a close game. And also, I wanted to also state that if Alexander on defense can cheat his feet up a little closer to the line of scrimmage with his hands and explode, get his butt up in the air and explode into the offensive lineman, I would love to see that. Put that big body in the backfield of Washington. Anyway, that's my prediction. If they get 150 yards rushing, and if Scadaboo could get 100 yards receiving out of the backfield, I think the Giants win the game. That's my prediction in a close one.
Hey, Kevin, can I make a Giants running backs combined? Appreciate the call, Kevin. Good stuff. Can we make that Giants running backs combined for 100 receiving yards? I don't think Scadaboo's going to get enough snaps to get that high.
I'm not sure Scadaboo will ever have a game this whole season where he has 100 yards receiving. That's asking a lot.
That is asking a lot, yes.
A lot.
You'd have to have a lot of injuries at that position for something.
Yeah.
He would have to break a long one in order for that to happen.
Let's not forget, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to Scadaboo because certainly as a rookie, the Giants are expecting him to give them something. But Devin Singletary is still in this team, John. And we know the coaching staff really, really likes him a lot.
Yep.
So I don't think they're just all of a sudden going to say, okay, whenever Tracy's not on the field, Scadaboo's getting all of those other carries. I don't think that's going to happen.
I agree. I think Singletary's going to get 5 to 7 carries.
Sure. They're not going to cut him out of the deal entirely. I mean, he's been a proven back over the years.
So Scadaboo in his college career, all 3 of these games came in 2024. He's had 3 games where he's had over 100 yards receiving. 6 for 117 against Texas Tech in week 4 of last year. 4 for 121 against Oklahoma State. That was on November 2nd last year. They don't list how long the long one is there, but I imagine 4 for 121. There's got to be like a 70-yard screen in there or something like that. And then in the national title game, he was just short. He was 8 for 99. That's the national semifinal game, right? I'm sorry. 8 for 99 in that game against Texas. So,
and how many games in his career did he play in college?
In college?
Because you're saying it's 3 out of how many?
25 games.
3 out of 25.
Yeah.
I mean, that's long odds, to be frank with you. But, hey, you know what? If he can do it and the Giants can run for $150, yeah, I'd say their odds are pretty good at winning the game.
Let's go to Alex in Syracuse. Alex, what's up?
Hello?
Alex going once. Alex in Syracuse going twice.
Are you there?
Alex, if you're muted, hit on mute. Put him on. Yeah, I got you, Alex.
Hello.
What do you got?
Sorry, I thought I hit the mute button. I'm sorry. Hey,
no worries.
How are we doing today?
We're good.
Good. I got quick things for you, a few bold predictions. I want to start. I got a quick thought on Russ. I feel like people are really disrespecting Russ nationally for a long time now. I'm excited about Jackson Dart. Like everybody, I think he's the future. But I think Russ is the guy for right now, for sure. And I think people forget how consistently good Russell Wilson's been. But that's beside the point. I know you guys know that. Here's my one note that I want to make, because I hear fans saying this a lot lately. I hear the media saying this a lot lately. The one I think is really kind of dumb that people keep saying is people think that Dable's going to play Dart earlier than everyone thinks because that's how he's going to save his job. Now, first of all, I think Dable's playing to win. I think he's made that very clear. And I think he thinks, and I also think, that Russ gives them the best chance to win for a good majority of this season. But even if that wasn't the case, even if he was thinking about his career, I just think the idea, sure, yes, if Jackson Dart comes in and looks really good, you could make the argument that that helps him keep his job. But I also think the flip side of that nobody talks about is if Jackson Dart gets put in early and looks maybe decent, but like a rookie quarterback often will look, I feel like that's the quickest way for him to lose his job. So if I'm Brian Dable and I'm trying to keep my job, I'm not playing Jackson Dart till probably, A, we're eliminated from the playoffs statistically, and probably not till after that bye week at the earliest. Anyway, I just wanted to say, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. By that logic alone, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense.
Alex, real quick, I will just say this. The idea of job future and security will not play into the decision of when to play Jackson Dart. So on that, of course, we are 100% in agreement on that.
I think John and I have said many, many times, the number one factor that will determine when Jackson Dart has an opportunity to get into a game is how Brian Dable, Mike Kafka, and his coaching staff feel about his progress.
And look, Rand Carthon said this when I did the huddle with him 2 weeks ago. He goes, look, and again, we don't know if he is, but if he gets the opportunity to run the scout team and he's lighting it up and killing people out there, then the players start believing in the player too, right? So those are all things. And then how is the offense doing, right? If the offense is doing well, they're not going to yank Russell Wilson. So those are the two things that are really then impact what kind of decision they make.
Conversely, even if the offense is sputtering some, but if Dart isn't progressing and looking good in practice, they're also not going to play him.
Yeah, so I'm saying you need both of those boxes to get checked.
So, I mean, in all honesty, I don't get this rush to necessarily get this guy into the lineup. I mean, people are just so impatient.
I get the rush. I don't agree with it, but
there you go.
I understand the psychology of it at least. All right, Alex, what's your point on Andrew Thomas?
Yeah, all right. I got 3 bowl predictions for you.
Yes.
So here are my 3 bowl predictions. One of them is actually more of a conspiracy theory. I'll end on that. Tyrone Tracy, 1,500 plus all-purpose yards, not just rushing, receiving, 1,500 this season.
Okay, nice. Good number.
This one's a little bit of a cop-out, maybe. I'm not going to give you like a record for us, but here's my bold prediction. I believe that in the final week of the season, the Giants will be playing meaningful, potentially playoff-entering football. Whether they can determine their own destiny or not, but I think that final week, that final game, we will be playing football where if we win, we at very least.
You mean mathematically alive?
Okay, I like it. I like it. Mathematically alive in the final week. I'm with you on that.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you. And all right, here's my third bold prediction. And again, this is maybe more of a weird conspiracy theory, but to be honest, ever since that blocked Dallas field goal where Andrew Thomas hurt himself 2 years ago, I honestly felt like that play cursed us as a team. And so my prediction, whatever you want to call it, is I don't believe Andrew's probably going to play this week. I realize this might even be ambitious, but I would love – here's my hope. I think we see Andrew come back, hopefully fully healthy, next week, play his first game against Dallas, and we beat up on Dallas, and that, in my mind, overrides the curse that started with that play from Andrew Thomas 2 years ago with the blocked field goal. So that's, again, maybe more of a conspiracy theory than a full prediction, but that is what I believe to be true.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate the call. Good
We're
stuff.
now venturing into the land of curses.
My question would be, how about all the bad stuff that happened before that field goal got blocked?
That was the black cat on the field.
I mean,
remember the black cat on the field? He's
for the better part of a decade, it's been a lot more than a curse. I'm just saying.
You did have those 4 years before 2022 that did not exactly go well.
No. One thing I will say to you, though, about, Wellington Mara always said that the goal of every season was that your fans can come to the last home game on their ticket plan and have a reason to vote for your team or pull for your team because you wanted them to still be alive in the playoff race. So your mathematical scenario for the final game against Dallas falls in line with what he always wanted as a team owner, to keep everybody engaged and to show people that we still have a chance. We're in the mix. I get it.
All right, we got a bunch of YouTube comments, Pearson. I'm going to fly through these before we do our playoff things. All right, we got James McKnight. Abdul Carter plays the most snaps from what position on Sunday? It's a good question, James. I'm going to say stand-up pass rusher. So standing up somewhere not on the edge, hovering behind the defensive line.
Inside linebacker.
Yeah, but he's not playing that on early downs.
I know, but
yes,
whether he's
correct.
a rover,
yeah, no, you're right.
Whether he's a rover or standing up next to Okereke, he's going to be inside the tackles probably more often than not. I think.
You think he might be at edge a little bit more, though? It's a good question. I think if you combine his defensive tackle and stand-up inside snaps, it'll be more than edge together. But as an individual position, edge might be most. Sarkon, that is an excellent question.
It is. Good one.
I'm sorry, that was James McKnight with that question. This one from Sarkon. If the O-line survives the first game without Andrew Thomas, we should have a good year. I think it would be certainly a very good sign. But as Paul pointed out, we talked about the Commanders' rush game maybe not being the best judge of the Commanders don't have a great pass rush either.
Let's not make a knee-jerk reaction decision.
Correct. Then again, you don't have Michael Parsons next week either. So we got to see what the Cowboys' pass rush looks like against
I agree with that too.
One of the best offensive lines in football tonight, the Eagles. And then
Absolutely.
we'll have a better The thing about Dallas is that we really don't know what they're going to look like in week 2.
No.
They got new coaches, new coordinators, no more Micah Parsons.
No idea.
Giant fans, watch the game tonight very closely. It'll give you a good idea of what week 2 is going to look like.
They do have offensive talent, though.
No, they are going to score points.
Yeah, they've got talent.
I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I'm with you. Scott Young, do you know who will be returning kicks, Paul?
That's pretty much been fait accompli. It's going to be Olszewski. Now, who's going to be with him on kickoffs? We don't know.
Did say he would do kickoffs today, pretty much. I don't know if he flat out said it, but he said he feels the new kickoff rule lends to his running style a little bit more.
Yeah, and then also added that it's best to have a second guy back there who you have confidence in returning the kicks because he thinks there'll be more playable kickoffs.
He didn't give a name on that.
He did not
right?
give a name. No.
I didn't think so.
But Olszewski, I'm sure, will be one of them.
Did you look who was on the unofficial depth chart for the kick return?
I'll take a look while you go through.
Take a look quick.
Yep.
Damian Lawaka. I'm going Lawaka.
Okay.
I like Lawaka. If you were to guess, what would the snap share percentage be between Tracy, Scadaboo, and Singletary this season, assuming all are healthy? I mean, I think to start the year, you're looking at like 70, 20, 10. Maybe 70, 15, 15 with Tracy at the 70. I think by the end of the year, as Scadaboo gets more integrated, I don't know, Paul, what do you think? Like 60, 30, 10? 60, 30, 25, 15?
That's reasonable.
Something like that?
That's reasonable. However, the two factors to keep in mind here will be, number one, if Tracy continues to have some fumbleitis, which could linger from last year, and that would be a problem. And then the other thing is, of course, Scadaboo needs to show us he can be healthy.
That's true, too. Yep.
And he's also going to need to be effective. He'll earn more snaps.
Yeah, and look, I think the big part, too, is how effective is Tracy going to be, right? Like, if Tracy is as good as I think he's going to be, I think it's going to be hard to take him off the field a ton because I think he's going to be a very effective running back.
The unofficial PR-based depth chart has Devin Singletary.
I thought I remember it being Devin Singletary. I didn't want to say it until you checked it. And then who's after that?
Wan'Dale Robinson and Tyrone Tracy are also listed.
There you go. By the way, looks like former Giant Adoree Jackson might be one of the starting corners for the Eagles tonight, by the way.
Wow.
I think he's starting across from Quinyon Mitchell.
So he goes last offseason with an expired contract, sitting around, waiting for a call. The Giants basically call him back late because they needed someone else at the position, and now he's going to start opening day for the world champs. Man, oh man, what a story.
Yeah, I don't know if they've made an announcement. There was some question as to who that second corner is going to be. And last I had heard, I thought it was going to be Adoree Jackson. Anyway, and one more from Damian Lawaka. And what positions do you think the Giants are better than the Commanders? Giants have a better pass rush. I think they have a better secondary.
Better at running back.
Better at running back. I think their offensive lines are comparable, especially if Andrew Thomas isn't out there. Again, I think Washington is talented. I just don't know what that group's going to look like together. There's a lot of new guys.
That's fair.
I mean, wide receivers, I think, are probably about equal. Neighbors is better than McLaurin, but I think Debo's probably a little step above whoever the Giants' 2 is.
Yeah. tight end, Ertz is more proven, but I think Theo has much more upside.
Yeah, but I wouldn't give that in week one. Give that advantage to the Giants necessarily.
You can't. Ertz has done too much in this league.
I mean, look, I think you're looking at the trenches. I think that in the secondary. I know they really like Trey Amos, the rookie corner. That's going to be starting outside.
And number 2
Marshawn Lattimore is healthy. Second round pick, right? Marshawn Lattimore's healthy, and Sanser still is really good nickel back. He's in his second year. Him and Drew Phillips are both going to be really good nickels in this division for a long time.
I think both teams have really promising corners right now.
I really want to see how they match up with Neighbors. Because if they play a lot of man, which I suspect they will, is that going to be Lattimore or is it going to be Amos with help? And look, Lattimore, he was bad in the playoffs last year to the point where he got yanked off the field. Now, he was banged up.
He was.
So if the Commanders, and my feeling is that they're going to be a lot more aggressive on defense this year, a lot more blitzing, a lot more man, this could be, you want to see Russell Wilson throw the ball down the field? Well, this could be it, boys and girls.
They want to see the guy they traded for.
Slayton.
And if Lattimore does not live up to that, they're going to really get burned.
They traded 2 and a 3 for him. That's a big
That's
trade.
why they need him to play to that level.
100%. So I think those perimeter matchups and potentially getting those big plays over the top could be huge.
Yep.
All right, so Paul and I both picked out our playoff teams and our Super Bowl matchup. I was thinking about doing like award winners. There's so many politics though, and like guessing injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
I felt like that wasn't as much fun. So maybe if you want to do that with SciTac tomorrow and pick award winners at the end of the show, you can do that. It's up to you. Talk to him about it today if you want to do it. All right.
Okay.
Playoff predictions. NFC, Paul. Eagles, NFC East.
Yeah.
All right, that would break the record, by the way.
I know.
That infamous 21 straight years without a repeat winner. I have the Packers winning the NFC North. How about you?
I got Detroit and Green Bay in that order, making the playoffs out of that division.
Okay, I have the opposite. I have Green Bay, Detroit.
Because of Parsons?
Lions as the... No, I worry about the Lions losing their 2 coordinators.
Yeah, I understand.
And I think
that.
they could take a little step back there, maybe.
I could see it.
The South, I went back and forth a bunch. I decided... Just because when I did my first picks, Paul, I found like it was the exact same playoff teams as last year. And in the NFL, you know what never happens year to year?
I know.
You never have the same playoff teams.
I know.
So I had to find different things here, so I decided to try to go different here, and I went Falcons.
I wanted to go Atlanta, and then I decided to eat crow, and I'm finally tipping my cap to Baker Mayfield. He did what he did.
He's
turned it around. He had a heck of a year. I'm going to go Tampa.
Hey, he had a great year. Good
and
for
I'm not
Baker.
sure how the Atlanta quarterback thing is all going to turn out either. I'll be honest with you. I was never a huge Penix fan.
Apparently, he has gotten rave reviews in the summer and spring. But again, it's the summer and spring. And
I know.
The thing about it, he has really good weapons. Like Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, a good offensive line. Like, it is set up perfectly for him to play the way he wants to play. I have the Niners coming out up top in the West.
Me too.
Which is actually a different team, which helps one new team in there.
Yep.
You mentioned you have the Packers as your first wild card. I have the Lions as mine. I have the Rams as my second wild card.
I have the Rams.
And then the third wild card, as you can see, I've crossed out like 3 different times. I was trying to find a different team again. I thought about putting the Bucks here. But again, nothing against the Bucks. I actually think they're going to be a good team this year. I decided to go Seahawks just to be a little bit different.
And I had Atlanta as my last wild card team.
There you go. I thought the Cardinals are another hot team that some people like there, and I did not put the Commanders in, which is one of the big changes from last year.
I got one team in the East. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the AFC, Paul. Bills, AFC East, easy.
Yep.
Ravens, and AFC North, easy. And AFC South, I wanted to pick a different division winner here. I just couldn't convince myself that anyone was better than the Texans, so I went with the Texans.
I decided to go Jacksonville.
Really? That would be a big jump for them.
That, to me, was my long shot pick.
Only 3 wins last year.
It's my long shot pick.
No, I get it. And that would be the team I would put ahead of them if I was to pick a team, just because of the talent on both sides. Chiefs, AFC West.
Yep.
Wild card 1, I have the Bengals.
So do I.
Wild card 2, and I went back and forth here between the 2 AFC West teams.
Did I.
I went Chargers.
So did I.
Damn it. And then the third wild card team. No, I didn't go Denver.
You didn't go Denver.
Paul, what team makes the playoffs every year with almost the last wild card spot?
Yeah, I know.
It's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know. I went Denver.
Could be the Aaron Rodgers curse takes him down, but
I
actually think Rodgers is going to have a good year this year.
See, I'm so anti-Aaron Rodgers and so pro Bo Nix.
You couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it. I had to go Bo Nix.
And I don't even have to give the champ. Did you like championship games?
I just simply went right to the Super Bowl.
So did I. I did the same thing.
And I had Buffalo over Detroit.
I have Packers over Bills.
Okay.
Because,
we were
by the way,
pretty darn close.
It's really not good. I have friends that I grew up with that were big Bill fans, like my oldest friends in Brooklyn, so I would love to see the Bills win. I've seen too much.
I think even though I'm a big Dan Campbell fan from when he played with the Giants and I know him well, I just think that, you mentioned the coordinators. I think the Buffalo coaching staff, I have such high respect for in a Super Bowl. One game takes all. I'm going to say I got to go Pittsburgh over Detroit.
And it's probably going to be the Chiefs again because that's just the way the world works.
Yeah, right.
I want it to be a little bit different.
Okay.
But yeah, look, if it was Bills-Lions, man, talk about two tortured fan bases and one of them has to win.
It almost was this past year.
I was rooting for that last year.
That would be pretty cool.
It could have happened.
If it was Bills-Lions, well, I mean, it didn't get that close. The Lions didn't make the NFC title game.
No, but as the season was progressing, a lot of people thought it could happen.
Right. No, I know. I think the Bills are they've been so close so many times against the Chiefs. Eventually, they're going to break through, right?
I'd like to see it happen, if for no other reason, because that fan base deserves it.
No, they do. They're a great fan base.
They're a great fan base.
And by the way, and I'll say that now the Raven fan base have seen them win, but Lamar Jackson's awesome, and that team has been really good for a long time, and they have not broken through yet. So wouldn't shock me if the Ravens broke through either.
They got 2.
That's right, the Flacco one.
I don't need to see Baltimore get another one. I'd rather see Buffalo.
No,
get
I agree
one.
with that. I agree. But Lamar hasn't. Has Lamar even gone to an AFC title game? I don't think he has, right?
I don't think
he's
so.
gone past
No,
the
I don't think
divisional
he
round.
has. I don't think he has.
We'll see. But yeah, and look, the NFC's wide open. I could see it to be the Packers. I could see the Lions. I could see the Rams. I could see the 49ers. I could see the Eagles. Any of those teams would not surprise me. Yeah. While in the AFC, I think it's going to be one of those 3. Ravens, Bills, Chiefs.
Yeah, I think that's very fair.
All right, Giants Huddle Podcast, folks, go check it out. Pearson Butler has done a fantastic job getting all these episodes up this week. Kevin Burkhardt went up yesterday. He's calling the game. Giants and Commanders, 1 o'clock on Fox. Really fun conversation. That went up yesterday. Today is going to be, remind me, Pearson?
Look out for Hangout.
Oh,
First
Giants
episode.
Hangout. Rebranded, reproduced. Pearson Butler's baby.
For a while now.
Oh, yeah. It's more of a lighter, fun thing, and you'll have a chance to laugh at the hosts over the course of that program, which is always entertaining. Should be fun. Go check that out. Giants Hangout out today. Tomorrow, I should have a one-on-one with Brian Burns hitting, along with some other game preview stuff. And then on Saturday, a special Saturday episode, which we did not plan on. It kind of fell in our lap. Old buddy of mine, Chris Mad Dog Russo, will be joining me to preview the Giants and the NFL season. That'll be going up on Saturday morning on the Giants Huddle Podcast. You can find it on the Giants Podcast Network, a podcast feed on any of your favorite podcast platforms, Giants.com, the Giants app, or Giants.com/podcast. Giants YouTube channel as well. Make sure you go check those out. Giants tickets, home openers in a couple weeks, Giants.com/tickets. And for all of our content, go download Giants TV on your favorite smart TV or other device. That is all our content on it. Make sure you go check that out. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. That's all the time we have for Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants, right here in the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. Thank you to Pearson Butler. And it'll be Dottino and Sitek tomorrow with your definitive preview of Giants and Commanders. We'll see you then.